So we have a try block and we have a catch block. What Java says, whenever you feel that a particular code is possibly going to throw an exception, if there are any chances that a particular code is going to throw an exception, please declare that code in the try block. So system.out.println. So this is the code that could possibly throw the exception, which is 10 by 0. There are high chances that this code is going to throw an exception. If you have any doubts, if you have any instructions like that, you can you can make sure that you can declare this code in the try block. Whenever you declare the piece of code in the try block, and if there is any exception that is going to occur in the type in this particular instruction, it will be caught by the catch block. So in the catch block, you can write a statement just like system.out.println exception. So we have a try block and we have a catch block. Try block, as a code, you have to make sure that there are instructions in the try block which will possibly generate the exception. If the exceptions are generated, this will be caught by the catch block. Because of this, the execution will be smooth. Let me write this code in the Java program to understand this better. Right? Let me open my Java code. So in this Java code, you see, this is the code that could possibly generate an exception. So I am writing this piece of code, the try block. We are just saying Java, try this code. And if at all it is going to generate an exception, catch that exception. Catch that exception and display a message to the console stating that an exception has been generated. So what do you mean? What do you mean by this? Use the code that is possibly generating an exception in the try block, and we are just telling Java catch that exception without terminating the program abnormally. Exception. Let me write this program once again in the Paint. The same program has been written in the Paint. Let us trace this now. Let me trace this now. So we know that we have to save the program compilation, and after compilation JVM will comes into picture. The JVM will create the main thread. So we will start from the main thread. So main thread will try to get access to the main method. So where is the main method? Where is the main method? Right. So all the instructions in the main method will get executed as per the order. The first instruction is what? This is the first instruction. The output is going to be main method start. Main method start. Right. Second instruction is M1. So from here the control will go to what? From control will go to M1. It is calling M1. From here the control will go here. Right. Meanwhile, when these things are happening, there will be a stack frame that will be created in the memory. So let us assume that this is the stack frame. The stack frame will be created in the memory. Right. So firstly, since the control is directly going to the main method, so over here we can say that it is main method stack. We can also call this as activation records. This is first track. and this main method internally calling another method which is m1. So m1 will be placed on top of this, right? So first instruction in the m1 is what? M1 start. So the output will be what? M1 start. After that, m1 method again internally calling another method which is m2, and again the control will go from here to where? M2 is here. Right? So in the m2 the first instruction is what? M2 start. So before actually printing the first instruction, we have to make sure that the m2 is getting pushed into the stack frame. So this is m2. Right? So in the m2 start is going to get printed. Right? So after that, after m2 start, there is instruction which is throwing an exception, but this exception will be caught by the try block. So if you see here, this is what the exceptional handling code. So here the exception is occurring in this instruction, but exception is handled well by the try block. Try block will eliminate this exception and it will display the statement to the console, exception code, and there will be no termination. There will be no abnormal termination. Exception is caught, exception is handled successfully by the try block, and since it is handling an exception, it will display a message to the console which is nothing but exception caught. That is what we want to display in the console. So in the output we will be able to see a message called exception caught. Exception code will be printed in the console. So after exception code, we have another statement which is m2 start. So again m2 start will also be displayed in the console. M2 start. So the execution of m2 method is completed now. If you see, all the instructions in the m2 method got executed successfully. All the instructions in the m2 method got executed successfully. All the instructions got executed successfully in the m2 method. Little confusing 1 minute. So the control will go back to the place it was previously called. It was m2 was called from here, right? So here one more statement is remaining to get executed, m1 end. Before even actually executing this m2 method will be popped out of the stack frame. This will be popped out of the zone. What does it mean? M2 method was successfully executed. The execution flow was successful. After this, the remaining print statement is m1 end. So m1 end will be printed here. Right? After m1 end, there are no statements in the m1 method. So all the instructions in the m1 method got executed successfully. So again the m1 method will be popped out of the stack successfully. The last method is main method. So only this instruction is left over in the main method. So this instruction will be what? It will be displayed in the console. Main method end. So as soon as all instructions in the main method got over, it will be popped out. Popped out in the sense it will be removed from the stack. From here it will be popped out. If all the methods are coming, getting popped out successfully, it means the execution is smooth. There is no abnormal termination here. So we have avoided the abnormal termination just because we have used the exceptional handling block, which is called as try catch block. Right? So this is how we can say that a program is getting terminated smoothly when you find all the methods that is pushing into the stack frame is getting popped out successfully. But if there is any exception exist in the Java code or snippet, the methods available in the stacks will not get popped out successfully. Instead, it will be terminated in the stack itself. It does mean that it is an abnormal termination. If it is not getting terminated in the stack itself, it means that it is going through the smooth termination. This is all about the mechanism of default exception handler. If there is no try or catch block, default exceptional handling mechanism takes place. If there is any try or catch block, the execution will be smooth, right? And again,